TIFU by hiding my staple addiction and making my family think I was a heroin junkie. Ever since I was a kid, I loved to fiddle around with staplers. Playing with the automatic ones and doing dumb stuff like any child would, opening the manual ones and swinging it around, stuff like that. One of my favorite things to do was to open up a new strip of staples and break them apart before putting them in. Running my fingers through the staples, counting them and breaking them apart. Love it. There are 210 staples in a standard strip, and sometimes I'd break off each individual one until my fingers hurt. I've even found strips with 209 and 211 a few times. This progressed from me messing around with staples in Ms. Grady's second grade class, to buying a box of staples every other payday to play with, to literally having a collection of different brands and sizes of staples in my college dorm to break apart. I had a problem, but no one was hurt, so who cares? Well. Fast forward to present day. I'm a functioning middle-class adult with a wife and 2 children. I have a home, a normal car, an office job. I'm by all accounts a normal human being. I still love staples. Working in an office with a supply room full of staples was a problem. I'd spend my lunch break in the room opening boxes and breaking apart staples to get my fix before returning to work. It got so bad over the course of a couple years that my boss changed our supplier because the boxes all had broken apart staples and were sometimes ripped. So I had to stop doing that. I turned to Amazon first, buying 10 boxes of staples at a time for about $20 a pop. It wasn't enough. I went to 20, then 40. My wife got curious then and asked, "Why are you buying all of these boxes of staples?" But I brushed it off as a work issue that I'd get reimbursed for and knew I had to change my methods. Over the course of a few months I enabled myself. I started using cash only at different office supply stores around my town and neighboring towns. I would sit in my car and break apart staples before going to the next store. I began to stay out late and tell my wife I would be home soon so I could go buy more staples from different stores. I opened up a new credit card to put online so she wouldn't know, but she caught it in the mail. She got suspicious because things weren't adding up. This past Thursday, after one of my late nights, I get home with a trunk full of broken staples and 10 freshly broken boxes in my passenger seat to see my parents' cars at my house. I walked in and everyone is sitting around like it's an intervention. Because it is. My wife asked if there was anything I wanted to tell them and to tell the truth about my problem. I sat down and kept saying, "What are you talking about?" until my mom said, "Honey, we saw the pictures." Then my wife tells me that my late nights, excuses, and general weirdness about the credit card and some other little things made her hire a private investigator. This man followed me around to office supply stores and watched me do something with what I had in the bag from multiple stores. It basically looked like I was a drug runner for Office Depot who was using some of the product for myself. At this point my wife started to cry and my dad shook his head. I had to come clean and all I could muster was, I like staples." The WTF looks I got afterwards turned into disbelief, then concern, then fits of laughter when I showed them my car. I came clean. I backed this up by showing my secret stash of used staples in my attic and explained the purchases on the card to my wife. Right now my only concern is my dad. He didn't laugh, just kind of shook his head continually in disappointment without saying a word. Believe it or not, I think therapy or addiction meetings may help, as my wife gave me these suggestions the day after. I may or may not do that, but the good news is I now can have a staple hour once I get home, and my budget for staples is allowed by the wife for now. TLDR, I have an addiction to breaking apart staples and my wife thought I was on drugs when it became a problem. Edit. Thank you all for the suggestions on getting professional help, sharing how it brightened your day, and making me laugh with some of your comments as well. I'm going to sit down for a while and try to respond to quite a few questions directly as well as here. If you want to copy pasta or use my story in your YouTube videos, or whatever, go right ahead. I just ask that you DM me / name the throwaway, so I can find and watch it out of pure interest of other people's perspectives on my problem. I went to see a therapist today with my wife. I was told that, although the addiction is not typical in its damage regarding my mental or physical well-being, I do need help. I'm going to go through addiction counseling like any other addict would. Just tailored to my specific issue. Apparently, part of fixing my brain to know that it is not okay to continue this level of staplephilia. That included cleaning out my car, attic, and not garnering more attention through memorializing pictures, doing interviews, or trying to garner 15 minutes of fame from it. So after answering some questions about mental health, and what the future holds, it will become less about Reddit laughs, and more about personal recovery. My wife initially thought I was having an affair. She didn't think I was doing drugs, until she got the pictures. The pie just told her what he saw, and she deduced that I had an undercover type distribution thing going with someone in the office supply business. She admitted that she didn't think it all through, but her mind was racing, and conclusions came as they did. I do not have autism or any diagnosed mental disability. I'm just an addict, and an idiot. I know how stupid the addiction is, and so I tried to hide it. It's not a big deal in the grand scheme of things, I guess, but my embarrassing white lie just spiraled out of control. I just counted a strip of staples. His story checks out. Don't start down that road. You may not come back. Staples. Not even once. Come on man, just one strip till I get paid. Maybe you will get lucky and get the elusive 211 pack. FBI, we found the EA agent right here, with all his talk about loot boxes having 211. It's the mechanics, brap. Surprise mechanics. It's a gateway paper binding office supply. The next thing you know, you'll be moving on to heavier things like paper clips or even binder clips. You don't want to be the person sucking dick for just one more sweet hole punch. Even just one staple break, and it could ruin your life forever. This message was sponsored by Kids Off Office Supplies. Damn man, that's some heavy shit. Straight up my strange addiction territory. No doubt about it. Opus. You need help, bro. Time for another intervention? Maybe a crusade. BRB firing up the rotors. Seriously, an addiction is an addiction. This is so mild compared to using drugs or whatever, but it's still like, not healthy. It's also probably brutal on his nails and finger skin. Wonder if he has built up calluses from this. Yeah. What a bizarre story for sure. It seems like it would fit exactly with the My Strange Addiction episode, but at least he's not harming himself or anyone, but just has an odd little thing for staples. I'd like to know the thought process as this evolved, like what goes through one's mind when you catch yourself going from store to store buying staples after having a fascination with them for years. I want to know what office supply store he went to. Was it, oh, I don't know. Staples. Now I have to wonder what he named the dog. Or if he has a vanity plate on his vehicle. 5 Tapple 3S. Weird dog name, but you do you. Not op, but I'm pretty sure I'm addicted to a common office item. It's not as advanced as ops and I can order my stuff online most of the time, but I guess it's close enough. In my case, you're just not thinking rationally at all. In this stage it never crosses through your mind that what you're doing might be wrong or weird or anything else. Like any other addict, you're just looking for your fix. You're excited, happy and anxious, so that's part of the high you're looking for. Then you get your drug and the high sort of climaxes, and then wears off after you've done your thing with it. Then when you come back down from it, you're like, WTF am I doing? Why did I just keep spending so much money on something I don't need, and I might have a problem? So I guess that would be the guilt part of it all. After some time, you start to look for your fix again. Your mind goes into this, I just want my fix mode, and you're back to square one. Addiction is definitely a disease. Since you seem to know your way around a box of staples, what's your favorite brand? Is there a size you prefer over the standard issue ones? Are heavy-duty staples particularly satisfying to break apart? Bro, you can't just drop the staple addiction on us and then not give us a breakdown of the pros and cons of various types. You're enabling him. I'm not his family IDC if he breaks apart staples in his spare time. Mayo I read it as him not his family IDC if he breaks the family apart. Which would be surprisingly accurate. Well, if he tears apart the family, he can always try to staple it back together. Dude. Despite all the staples, it seems your life is coming apart. Go see someone. Talk to a professional. The biggest red flag is the lack of control you describe. I'd also be asking the hard question of what this behavior is masking. It was a cool story though. Yeah, it is kind of unfortunate. The ridiculousness of the situation leads people to think it is silly and harmless. But acting so shady that your wife and parents hire a pie to tail you truly illustrates how bad the actual problem is. I hope Pop actually goes to get help. Even ignoring the potential thousands of dollars he spent, the lengths he went to satisfy this OCD level urge, troubling. This is my strange addiction level addiction. Definitely hope Pop at least ends up seeing a professional who can analyze the issue. Not only that, but also risking his job for this addiction by essentially stealing the drug of choice from work. I mean, after the amount of times it would take them to have messed up orders enough times to switch vendors more than once, they wouldn't have had to think very hard if they ever caught up pulling this shit in the supply closet. Lol, then they realize that regardless of the cost, they probably just fire the dude because of how weird it is, unless his boss is super in touch with how to help people with addictions and recommend help and not add the stress of losing his job. Anything you stand to lose a job for is most definitely a serious issue and shouldn't be taken lightly. Maybe a pro can help him search for the reason why. My first thought is that he's traumatized from the time his dad stapled his butt cheeks together or his balls to the ground to keep the little fucker in place. Explains dad's reaction to /yes lol. One of the best posts I ever read. Thanks so much for this. This can't be real. It's so bizarre, it has to be real. I mean, the human imagination is a powerful thing, but this seems too weird not to be true. Imo, this is a direct response to the earlier thread about BS sex stories. I don't buy it until Op shows us his trunk full of broken staples. Yeah, I'm gonna need to see the staple stash. Dude, you should upgrade your addiction, like make sculptures out of staples. Technically, that's downgrading his addiction into business. Or just start a stapler business. If he could make bank off it, I'd hesitate to call it an addiction, or even anything bad. It's rare anyone is really that passionate about anything, really. Don't get high on your own supply. First and hardest rule for an addict. Wrong. An addict has their own supply to get high on. This is the first and hardest rule of a dealer. Dealers follow this rule to avoid becoming addicts. It's not a foo. In fact, it's a positive outcome that your family found out and is willing to stand by you and provide you with the support to help you manage this addiction. Except his dad, lol, him straight up imagining that face of confusion and disappointment as he's shaking his head going WTF, that's my kid. I feel like in the moment the whole staple revelation probably hit his dad with like 800 different emotions. Initially a huge wave of relief that his kid isn't a heroin addict, quickly followed by a shotgun blast of confusing emotions. He spent thousands of dollars breaking apart staples? What the fuck did I do wrong raising him? Where did I go wrong? Shit, would it have been better if he was just addicted to drugs? That would be easier to explain to the relatives.